This is fight 260, and this is Le Creux Stadium in Chiang Mai. My first fight in Thailand was at Le Creux. I've been at the stadium many, many times. Uh, One time that was one of my favorites was it was like during an election or something, and so actually all bars were closed for the election, and they let the fights still go, but Le Creux is surrounded by bars, so there was like literally nobody there, and we fought in like an empty arena. That's not this time, that was years ago before we moved to Pattaya, but it's one of my favorite fight memories because it's just so weird. Like, who has that kind of experience? So they're announcing us getting in. I'm fighting Namtip, or Annucha, who I think this is my fourth fight with her. She's quite a bit bigger than me. I think she's probably around 54, 55, so like 8 or 9 kilos bigger than me. In my corner is Dang, who was my trainer at Lana Muay Thai up in Chiang Mai before I moved to Pattaya, and he still corners for me when I go up there. I had to go over and correct my name with the announcer, which is less an issue of it being a problem at all, but actually indicative of how long it had been since I had fought at this stadium prior to this, that they didn't remember that I was Petchrungruang. Something that was slightly odd was that Dang came with two people from his gym, two Westerners from Lana Muay Thai, and they cornered for my opponent. The reason this isn't a huge deal is because I don't really know them. Like, I don't need them to come corner for me. So them coming from Dang's gym, they're strangers either way to me. But it's a little bit strange to have my corner bring people from his gym to corner for my opponent. Um, it it wasn't worrisome really, but it's something to note in terms of like everything that goes into what might be odd going into a fight. So you can see the tall one there, that's Niall. He's in my opponent's corner. So if you watch this live on my Facebook, you'll hear Kevin doing live commentary on the live stream. And then if you're watching this on YouTube with my voiceover, this is after the fact. So I go through and do a re-voiceover with my commentary, and that's what you're watching on YouTube. If you want to see Kevin's commentary, go to my Facebook page. It's Sylvie von Duuglas-Ittu hyphen Muay Thai, and you can see all of my fights live. They're always streamed there, and they have Kevin's commentary. So this was actually a little bit interesting. Uh, During our Ram Muay, the announcer, who is I believe he's German, or at least a German-speaking country. He's been in Thailand for a really long time, and he's been working as a fight announcer in English for an incredibly long time. Um, he talks about me all the time, as he talks about both of us as we're doing the Ram Muay. He explains to the audience what a Ram Muay is, what's going on, and he talks about the fighters a little bit. In general, he's always been talking a little bit about that I've been in Thailand for a long time, blah, 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 this kind of thing. I noted while he was talking about me during this fight how much he was talking about my experience. So he was kind of bringing a new element of recognition to me in this fight for this audience. There was a couple who came to watch me who were on their honeymoon, like they had just gotten married, and they came to Thailand, and when they were in Chiang Mai, they saw me on a poster and knew who I was, and they were like, oh my god, we have to go watch Sylvie fight, which was really sweet. So this was like a fight 260 was the honeymoon fight for this couple, which is pretty awesome to know. I felt pretty good going into this fight. It had been a while for me since my last fight in Chiang Mai. It's been a little bit hard getting fights up there, whereas normally I like to fight twice a month up there. So there are mental elements that go into every fight that everyone deals with, but everyone has different context. So how long it's been since your last fight, how recent it's been since your last fight, who your corner is, who your opponent is, all of these different things. And I had actually had a bit of a difficult day going into this fight, and mentally I was not like in a great place. But then upon coming to the stadium and just having to like kind of turn it on to be able to get into the fight, I recovered really, really well. And I think Kevin was talking to me after the fight about how well I had recovered in order to be able to get in the ring and do this. Sometimes you don't, and that's okay. Like, if you fight, you can see our size difference there. If you fight in order to get experience and fight, and that's what you want to do, you're going to have good days and bad days, and they're just part of your experience. It's not a like you have to be 100%, but you can also use those difficult times as tools for learning how to recover under the pressure of having to get it right in that moment, kind of thing. I didn't know this referee. I know most of the referees up in Chiang Mai just because I've fought there so many times, but I wasn't familiar with this one. And I hadn't really been paying attention to the fights before me to know how quickly they break clinch or anything like that. Namtip and I, again, we've fought before. She has good hands, so that's something I was aware of going into this fight, is wanting to keep my guard up, but also I've been working really hard on punching out of my guard instead of having like two different positions. So it's something that I'm focusing on in this fight. Here I'm just trying to stay close to her. She's pretty good at going backwards and striking. It's round one, so I'm not like charging super fast, but I do want to stay closer than what I'm actually doing. She has good teeps as well, which keep me on the porch a little bit. Oh, that hook was good into a clinch. She does this thing where she puts her hips in really hard in order to kind of snuff my clinch. Because she's so much bigger, she ends up doing well with it. There are totally solves to this, and actually you don't see fighters at Lumpini using this just drive your hips in really hard as a solution to the clinch because it's so easy to solve, but I'm not solving it yet, so it's something that I've had in my head. Oh, that was nice. A left kick, right kick by her. You can see she's waiting for me to come in to like launch a knee. I'm actually susceptible to that because I come so straight, and Pinu's been telling me to block with my left leg as I'm coming in because it tends to be my opponent's back leg that they're firing. I'm getting her in the clinch pretty good, and even though she's putting her hips in, I'm putting her in positions that it's round one, so it doesn't really matter, but these are positions that later in the fight will be important for scoring. Oh, I like that bouncing front leg and teep. Diesel Noy's been at my gym 3 days a week for the past 6 months, and he is a huge advocate of the teep, so I'm happy that I'm teeping in this fight. I tend to do well in fights that I'm teeping in. Oh, a left kick from me too, that landed on her body. Surprising myself here. Nice, like jumping teep there a little bit, getting a little bit aggressive. I always look over to Kevin as I'm like getting in the corner. Just a little like check to see if there's something that he immediately is like, you need to be going left, or staying closer, or keeping my hands up. Like, he knows the things that I'm working on, so I can do like a little check to see what he's seeing in those rounds. Dang brought 2 people to work in my opponent's corner, but he was working alone in my corner, so he has to do everything. He has to bring the pan up and the chair up and do the water and everything. It can be a little bit tricky between rounds to have to do all of those things, but of people who have spent their lives doing Muay Thai, Dang has done this many, many times. It's not a problem. So I think that what Dang was telling me between rounds was to try to experiment a little bit more. He wanted me to kind of strike more from a distance. I think because I'd had a little bit of success in that in the first round, so it was like, let's try to work on some of the things that often against much bigger opponents I really don't have the opportunity to work on because of the size difference and usually height difference. Closing in right away is like my safest bet. I've got a little bit of a bounce in my feet there. That's nice. We used to call that the Nong Ki bounce off of the Nam Kabun and Nampon gym. They had this like kind of rhythmic bounce that I stole. Oh! Trying to sweep her teep out of the way. I'm doing a little bit of faking there. I stole that from Lak Hin. He's in the Muay Thai Library. You should definitely go check that out. But he has this like stutter step in to land a left hook to the body that I've been working on. I'm not doing that. bit of a knockdown, but I like followed up on it to it doesn't count as a knockdown from me. She slipped, but if you follow up on it, it kind of tells a little bit of a different story about how that happened. I like this distance I'm staying at. It is too far away, but it feels aggressive, which is nice. There I'm landing punches with kicks after them. That's nice. She did exactly the same thing, and hers were nicer because she's longer. Oh, punch, punch, knee from her. Did you see that? To the fucking open side, too. That was really nice. But I've got her in the clinch, and I've got an arm hook now, which is something that's been really working for me. And I twist towards the arm hook, which makes it really hard to get out. You can't really get leverage to pull your arm out from that position. It's good for me as a smaller fighter. She's putting that knee up, just waiting for me to come in. Oh, that's a nice knee against the ropes, though. The ref is breaking the clinch really fast now. He's protecting her. But it kind of doesn't matter. I'm already scoring before he gets to us, which is something I've had to work on a lot because I just landed a body punch. I did like a body hook, head hook. That was good. It's something I've had to work on a lot because I've actually been broken by refs faster and faster as the years go on. They really, really like breaking quickly to protect my opponents, which means I just have to adjust and clinch faster. Like I have to score faster. Here I'm kind of going to the right, so she's able to like circle out. Kevin, if you hear him in the live streams, is always yelling for me to go left. That's to cut my opponents off. Nice throw. And at the end of the round, so I get to just like put my hand up and be like, yeah, get out of that. So between rounds is, with my experience and often with the corners I have, I either don't know my corner at all, and so they're giving me advice that I may or may not listen to, or I know my corner very, very well, and so they're giving me kind of the same quiet, like, yeah, step on your kicks that I've been hearing for 7 years kind of thing. So between rounds for me has evolved quite a lot. Early in my career, it was very disorienting. You have like 4 or 5 people shouting at you at once, and you kind of have to decide who to listen to, or you just don't hear anybody. But in the evolution of my career and who's in my corner and what kind of fighter I am and knowing what works for me and what doesn't, it's become way less complex in the corner as it was for maybe like a couple of years in the beginning of my career. I think what Dang is telling me to do is that after my teeps or after my punches, to really step for the strike after. Kevin pointed out that while I said that Dang brought 2 people to help in my opponent's corner, they're not like, oh, the opponent needs help, I'll just bring 2 people. These 2 people from the gym know her. Like, they were friendly with her, they were talking with her before. They're in the Muay Thai community in Chiang Mai. They know my opponent. Oh, she's good at that left-right kick. It's kind of like a very aggressive specialty. Here I am going left, which is what I was talking about a minute ago. It forces her to go right, which actually moves her into my power side. So now if I like throw my right hand or my right kick, she's moving into it. Oh, I'm closing that. Nice. Left hook. She came back with a nicer left hook and like 5 shots. I'm trying to get better. Oh, that was a really nice left knee from her. Here I have her locked up and I'm turning. I'm trying to get a good position on her arm. I'm outside of it, but I'm controlling her elbow, but I really should be swimming in or going around to get her in more of a locked position for dominance, but I'm scoring and she's not. It's very disorienting for her when I twist like that and knee. This is why I'm able to fight bigger opponents than myself, is because of my style and my strength. She's trying to use a really long guard to keep me at a distance now. I should actually be kneeing and kicking under it, but I'm a little bit in my head like hand focused. Oh! Batting down her front arm and punching over it. That's good. Now we're in the corner and she's actually got her knee up. When you leave your knee up like that, you can be turned, which is what I just did right there. It's a dominant move for me. I like this pace. I'm actually squaring up a little bit and just walking towards her. Oh, leg kick. She got a body kick back, which is actually a better score, but because I'm closing in and she's just going backwards, she looks a little bit desperate, like she's just trying to stay away from me. She's teeping a lot, which is good. Because I'm closing in against her, I should actually be teeping as well. Got a nice lock there. Her arm is stuck, and I'm scoring, but I need to be, again, twisting to like off balance her. The ref is actually letting the clinch go a little bit more now than he was in earlier rounds. There's no reason for him to be breaking that right there other than just to protect her, but it's the end of the round, so that's all right. It's difficult to have things that you're good at, and you fight the same people and you fight in the same places, and they learn those things that you're good at, and so they know what to expect or what to kind of counter. Not everything is going to keep working for you forever, so you either make it better or you make it faster or you like add other elements to it. So I am trying to add more strikes on my way into the clinch, but the clinch is where I'm going to win a fight, like, period. So it's not something that I want to move away from so much as embellish my skills and movements around it. I really like the way that I'm just walking, like literally just walking across the ring to track her down. At my size, like with our size difference, the confidence that that conveys is really nice. She's actually not striking me on the way in the way she was in earlier rounds when I was trying to kind of like pace and creep in. So it's interesting to see how certain skills work out better earlier or later in the fight. As your opponent starts getting tired, stepping back and firing becomes more difficult for them. So me being able to just walk in like that in later rounds, one, looks better, but two, is more possible because of the natural fatigue everyone gets as a fight develops. I'm teeping again, using my lead side kick. I like that. My guard is pretty good. Drops down a little bit while I'm kicking. I think I'm thinking less about punching. I just reminded myself of it by jabbing her there. Those teeps were working really well for her a couple, like, I think in the last round. And I was annoyed because I want to be like a Terminator and just like move past them the way that Diesel Noi does. But I don't actually get the kind of practice in that at my gym that I should be myself asking for in order to become skilled in that particular area. Oh, I flinched a little bit, and she got a head kick in there. Nice. So you can see how she like doesn't even have an answer upper body wise to that clinch. She tried to throw me on my knee, which was a really good move on her part to just time that. But as the smaller fighter not getting thrown, her attempt to throw me and me not going actually looks really good for me. Oh, nice knees. She's pushing her hips in really hard, which should make these knees not very hard, like not very powerful. But because I'm stepping to the side before throwing them, I'm creating enough space for myself that those still have quite a bit of impact. Her guard is getting really wide. That's a nice step knee on her part. So I should be blocking that with my knee. Like, I basically just lift my knee as a block, and her knee will land into it. It's really painful for her. Here I'm kind of just tracking her straight. I've got a little bit of a like, I'm coming to get you, but I'm not. There I go, left. See how that changed everything? It like changes where she's able to go. You kind of direct her a little bit. Here she's trying to lock on me, and she actually has a better position, but I've gone a little bit long, and because I'm twisting, I can score and she can't. End of the round. This is one of the things where at the end of the fourth round, in a lot of fights, you have a pretty good idea of who's winning. I had no doubt that I was winning this fight. And so as a knee fighter, I have to make a decision for round 5, which in general, it works well as a formula to go for the first half of the round. I keep coming forward because I'm a knee fighter. And then after that, I can start kind of backing up and changing direction and forcing my opponent to try to come chase after me. Narratively, this is actually a really good standard formula for most fights in Thailand. It doesn't always work out that way. You can start going backwards too early. You can go forward for too long if you don't understand what the narrative of the 5th round is. I have a fight video and article on 8limbsus.com that you can read about the 5th round and the complexities of understanding how to use the 5th round in the context of the narrative of the rest of the fight and how to fight. I've lost fights that I thought I should have won because I started going backwards too early. Like, I've won already, I don't have to come forward. But as a knee fighter, for the kind of fighter I am or what my opponent was doing, it's important for me to remind everyone what my dominance is at the first part of the round, and then I can maybe start going backwards. Namtip is going backwards as she has been the entire fight. So right now we're still playing the same roles that we've been playing throughout the fight. We're actually throwing pretty similar things. She's trying to use the last of her energy to strike me as I'm coming in, and she's actually landing some nice things. That was a nice attempt at an escape from her, but she can't get out. She's pushing my face, which has been a problem for me in a couple of my fights, but I was staying square, which I should have done in other fights. For this reason, as she couldn't get out. Her Thai teammate in the corner is yelling for her to circle out, to basically just stay away from me. In this kind of fight, in the 5th round, she just needs to stay away from me as much as possible because I'm coming forward. The minute I start going backwards, she cannot go backwards anymore. That's one of the reasons you change direction in round 5. I've got a really nice lock on her and arm hook. I tried to knock her down and she didn't go. It doesn't look good for me, but it's not that bad because of all the scoring I did before. I take that as a dominant moment, offer the hand tap, which is the like, okay, now we're just going to eat the rest of the time in these reversed roles of me going backwards and her basically trying to score or steal the fight. I need to not come forward. If you're not familiar with the 5th round and how it works, and what I call the dance-off, where there's a reversal and someone starts going backwards, and someone offers to touch gloves with you, if you touch the glove, you are accepting submission. You're basically saying, okay, you've won this fight, we're just going to burn time. So just be aware of that if you're not familiar with the 5th round, what you're agreeing to if you're touching gloves. There have been times that I've touched gloves with women and they just come anyway, so that happens too. That was a really quick victory and get out of the ring. That was like a Tom Hardy and Warrior, like just get out of the cage kind of thing. There was not a big, spending a lot of time in the ring. We don't read scores or anything in Thailand unless it's like a title fight. But you just go back to the corner where you were. It's this dark little corner where we had prepared. Take your gloves off. I'm so tiny with my like deer hands that I can usually just slip my gloves right off. That's Namtip with her teammate Fatip coming back, and I was not hurt in this fight the entire way through. I was really happy, and then in the last round when I started going backwards, I had to block. Like I had to basically just go backwards and protect myself, and I got hurt in the last like 30 seconds of the fight blocking. I hurt my shin. I'm tapping on my low blow there. They're my sponsors. Dang's getting his stuff together. That happens sometimes. Like you make it all the way through a fight and then you get cut in like the last minute. Or when I have to start going backwards, I'm not a backwards fighter. I've had to learn how to fight backwards. I dinged up my shins in the last 30 seconds of that fight, which I find really funny. But that's fight 260 against Namtip or Annucha in Chiang Mai, Loy Crow Stadium, and trying to figure out how to turn off the GoPro that Kevin was filming with. And again, if you want to hear his commentary, go watch the live feed on my Facebook page.
This is fight 260. I'm at Loy Crow Stadium in Chiang Mai. I haven't fought here in a while. I fought Namtip, who I fought, I think this is our 4th fight together. And it was an opportunity for me to try some different things, and I think I did a little bit of that. But the atmosphere here is really weird. It's a really weird fight. Nothing bad, maybe something that I'll write about or something, but it's been a while since I've been in Chiang Mai, so happy to be back up here. 260 win and good opponent and not hurt. I'm fighting in Hua Hin on Mondays. So see you guys soon. Thank you for watching the live stream. Thank you to my sponsors, Onyx MMA in Singapore, and Low Blow. Got my Low Blow on. Thank you guys.
Sylvie's feeling pretty good. She came off a big Card Chook win in Khao Lak. She did not get a lot of training in after her last fight. Namtip. Expressed a little frustration about that. But this is how it goes. We're really scrambling for fights lately. And we were very lucky to get this one. Sylvie's fought Namtip 3 times. Once I think was quite a while ago, and then she fought her twice, maybe in the last 6 months, and was surprised how strong Namtip had become. Sylvie won those fights, but they were pretty sorely contested. Nice leisurely pace for the Ramoy, which we love to see, like not rushing through it. Both fighters are like really slowly paced.
Very pleasure to see her fight. She walks the way. As a not quite as a Thai boxer for many years already, very famous in Thailand. As an Namtip, Annucha is a quite experienced fighter. It's going to be a pleasure to watch them tonight on fight number.
From what we recall, Namtip liked to throw hand combinations, which is not super common among female Muay Thai fighters. They're usually much more kick heavy. She was, that's Kru Dang of Lana Muay Thai doing Sylvie's Mong Khan.
Sylvie against Namtip. Fight number 4, first round.
Touch gloves, Sylvie moving left, which we like her to do. She's kind of inching, now she's leveled out. Namtip is basically shielding with her leg. A kind of static interference. Sylvie jumps across with a little bit of a hook. Sylvie teeping the lead leg. We actually want her to teep a lot. Oh, open side, lead leg head kick. Sylvie lands those pretty regularly in the first part of the fight. They don't have a lot of sting on them. Oh, that hook went around the guard, but did not connect. Namtip is fighting her hard on the clinch position. The ref is letting it go, which is usually really good for Sylvie. Oh, and then as soon as she gets the lock, he breaks it. It's a little bit Sylvie's fault. Once you get that lock, you gotta make the move and score. Namtip is basically assuming a defensive position. Oh, low kick, high kick from Namtip. That's very nice. Sylvie gets a nice knee in. Got outside position. She pulls. She's got 2, another knee. She's scoring repeatedly. A nice trip, a little turn. And the ref kind of steps in when Sylvie gets dominant inside. Sylvie threw a cross and attempted kick. Namtip is basically just defending early in this fight. She does not want to gas herself. She knows Sylvie's a good cardio fighter. Nice stiff jab. Parried by Sylvie. Oh, a left right, followed by kick by Sylvie. Nice jumping teep by Sylvie. A good first round.
Very experienced fighter, Sylvie. In the record against Namtip Annucha.
Who Let the Dogs Out comes on. And Sylvie cracks up. Sorry guys, I can't read your comments because of the Wi-Fi connection. Hopefully the stream is going and my voice is going okay. That was a pretty good round for Sylvie. Namtip's really just fighting defensively at this point. She's probably gonna burn out the first 2 rounds just to save her gas tank. Sylvie showed initiative and she was keeping pretty good. Threw a little bit in combination, and she showed she can get the inside clinch position, get her arm inside. The ref broke it. We'll see how it goes. Nice heavy kick from Namtip. That lead leg bounce up is bothering Sylvie a little bit. She tries to bat it and catch it. Sylvie faking, I don't see that a lot. Low kick, teep, nice. Nice head kick from Namtip. Glancing off of Sylvie's guard. Sylvie caught her a little bit on the teep, that was pretty good. Just a little bit of a timing, not much power. Sylvie can guard, inching forward, hopping in, which she needs to scoot. She needs to scoot left to cut her off. Oh, nice score by Namtip. Oh, nice hand trap. Oh, nice. Namtip woke up there. Sylvie got the arm loop. Nice knees. Nice knees. Nice turns. Namtip exploded a little bit, and I think it pissed Sylvie off a little. And she went right to the arm loop, which is one of her better finishing moves. Oh. Sylvie's got a little spice in her now. You can see the pace picking up, a little lead head kick. Oh, a little body. Arm outside for Sylvie, but she's scoring. Scoring. Nice drag a little bit. Right now the ref is protecting the clinch a little bit. Maybe for just the sake of the flow of the fight. Nice low kicks that hurt Sylvie a little bit. Oh, Sylvie with a wide hook. She's trying to set up that left knee. Namtip is waiting. Nice arm raise by Sylvie. She's by nature a shy person. She does not like to be demonstrative. And one of the harder things in Thailand is fighting is a performance art. You have to act out your narrative. So he's got a little bit of deep breathing on her, which is actually good. We try to get Sylvie tired in fights. She has a really good cardio, and we're basically, if Sylvie's tired, her opponent's tired. When she comes back not breathing hard, we feel like that's a little bit of a wasted moment. Sylvie got pull her off the rope. So far, first 2 rounds. Namtip coasting, defensive, and then in the last round, a couple of explosive moves meant to hurt Sylvie. Combination with a head kick, a nice double low kick. She low kicked each side, left side, right side, which was pretty cool. Sylvie's got some pace on her. Nice from Namtip. That was a stinging. Sylvie comes back with a low kick and the teep to the standing leg. To the floating leg. Sylvie bouncing that lead leg to counteract the lead leg bounce of Blue. Sylvie tracking her down. Namtip's basically skating. Sylvie's got a dern. Oh, caught her with a little bit of a hook. Oh, nice. Got Sylvie backing up. Ended with a kick to the body. Namtip skating. Sylvie got the lock in, maybe. Got a little bit of arm control. Big knee. Trying to get her right arm in. She's doing little tiny trips. A little bit of long clinch in there. Big knee to the open side. Big knee, big knee. Ref protecting Blue a little bit. Sylvie going to the left there. Oh, a little jab to the body. Starting to see this fight nicely. Got a long guard from Namtip. Namtip's just trying to keep her off of her. Nice long knee by Blue. Oh, Sylvie rubbed where the knee landed. Maybe that hurt her. Sylvie got double outside, not a good position, and trips her on double outside. Sylvie durning a little bit. Nice kick on the escape to the open side. Sylvie gets caught on the close side with a kick. Sylvie durning. Sylvie durning, teeping. Teeps coming after her. Teeps got her flinching. Sylvie hooks. Sylvie's gotten some knees. Got one arm in. Big knee. She scooted out. Big knee to the inside. Big. The ref is preventing moments of dominance from turning bad. That's a pretty interesting move Sylvie got. That was very good. She scooted under the lock arm of her opponent and got to the outside. It's a really effective method. You can take someone's back that way, but she was up on the ropes, so she just scooted to the outside. This is something that Yokumpan teaches, the elbow hunter. Good. Pull her off the ropes, baby. Sylvie, off the rope. I'm telling her to pull her off the ropes because the ref is very clinch aware, I guess is the way to say it. So if you get your opponent off the ropes, it makes it a little less likely to break the clinch. So that was more of the same from Namtip. Lots of defensive posturing, and then momentary explosions meant to hurt. Sylvie teeping, that's nice. Going left, low kicking. Nice attempt at a head kick. Sylvie's hitting low and high. That lead leg kick is doing well. Sylvie's gonna start to turn, I think. Right now she's just walking and kicking. This is not her normal style fight, point fighting, but she is winning the point fight in this round. There's a nice little long knee by Blue. Blue showing a little movement, little tap-offs. freezing Sylvie. Head kick around Sylvie's guard. Oh, cross entry for Sylvie. Big knee, big knee. She's got an outside position. She tried to throw, did not work. Cross to the body from Sylvie, but blocked by Blue. Another cross by Sylvie. Sylvie drifting right. Can she get her arm in there? Big knee, big little knee. Billy's got the arm loop, which is usually very good for her. Big knee. Sylvie Durning. Be careful not to stop here. She stopped on the porch now. Nice knee by Namtip. Nice teep. Sylvie comes in with a cross. Sylvie's going right a little bit, too much. Hook to the body from Sylvie. Sylvie's finally cutting her off a little bit. Sylvie going right a little. Long clinch from Sylvie. Long clinch from Sylvie, turning. Big knees, big knees. Oh, nice. I'm not sure how to score that fight, that round. Sylvie definitely had the points, but when you're point fighting with a point fighter, you're walking down the wrong narrative. Sylvie. No more point fighting. No more point fighting.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we had 4 rounds on there. 4 rounds already on that time. Plus an excellent 4 rounds. Sylvie.
Sylvie's had some pretty dominant moments, but the clinch is being broken when she gets them.
Round to go. Final round. Fourth fight for tonight.
Sylvie, go left. She had a little bit of a problem of going right in that round, circling right, which made her look like she was chasing. Not sure how to read the clinch breaks. It could be that Sylvie was getting like definitive points and people recognized what the ref was doing, or it could be she was being robbed of fight turning moments. Nice close side kick by Namtip. Teep from Sylvie. Oh, nice low kick. Sylvie Durning. She's got to get in and lock. There she is. Boom. Blue's trying to wiggle out. Sylvie captured her. Sylvie dragged her off the ropes. Big knee. Nice low kick. Nice teep. Big kick from Namtip. Big knee. Sylvie. Sylvie calling the foul. Blue was grabbing the ropes. Sylvie calling the foul for the ref. Big knees. Arm loop. Big knees. Big knees. She should win this fight. Sylvie dancing. Go backwards, Sylvie.
She's pointing out to
Sylvie loading her teeth probably. Namtip inching forward. Sylvie dances away. She's just burning the end of the round. Namtip is basically acknowledging the loss. She's coming forward, but not with major intent. As a backward fighter, when you start to come forward in the end, you're basically acknowledging the loss. Sylvie wins.
From the United States.
Nice fight by Sylvie.
That's a big respect to
big opponent.
Namtip. She had a good fight.
skilled defensive fighter. Fighting the ref clinch breaks. Sylvie's got a huge reputation right now as a massive clinch fighter. So something she's learning is how to fight through clinch breaks. You never know why they're happening. They could be for fight flow. They could be for protecting the opponent. They could be for gambling reasons sometimes, although not for sure in this fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, next fight of it is going to be another international.
Baby, say goodbye.
This time in direct corner from Laos.
Low.
Can fight the place on both. Sick. Trying to fight against our Thai fight of the Macau family plays on both. Giant.
Thank you, everybody. Can you hold this, baby? I don't understand.